CM 365, all about Carnatic music. In the field of Carnatic music, we see that being a performer and teacher are two different things. Now, if you want to become a performer, you should be endowed with certain qualities. I think I mentioned about it also in one of my earlier episodes about how the performer has to have a nice, sweet, and arresting voice. He should be able to have that confidence to carry his music through to the audience. He should have a vast repertoire. He should have a wonderful interaction with the accompaniment and so on. So now, if you look at the teacher, he may not have all these qualities to teach a student. A teacher basically requires to have a good repertoire of songs, and then he should also have the ability to teach with patience and dedication. Now, if you look at our own children, sometimes I see that some parents feel a sense of pride in putting their children under star performers. Not everybody I'm mentioning, but most of them, because of the fact that they have a very busy schedule, they may not be able to really take regular classes. So the improvement on the side of the student will be very minimal because of the irregularity of the classes. So that way, this really does not serve any purpose in terms of the acquisition of the knowledge by the child. Now, for a teacher, we could also say that he actually, every teacher for that matter, he teaches with a lot of dedication to every student who comes to him. So if there are going to be 15 students, he imparts his knowledge in the same way to every student. But some of them are only able to make it well in terms of the grasping ability. So there we see that one of them or two of them will become very great performers. Some of them will be mediocre performers. Some of them may even leave the music field and go off to some other stream. So there we see that teaching is not a one-way process where only the teacher teaches with dedication, but the student has also to assimilate it with the same amount of dedication if the knowledge has to be, it has to grow within him. Now, why can't performers, all performers for that matter, become great gurus? Of course, today we see that many performers are also becoming great gurus, and through the media, via social media, we're able to see this aspect happening where they're able to train so many children. But basically, we see that sometimes the performer cannot always happen to be a great guru, for the matter that for a guru, he has to really be very, very patient, and he has to really have that sense of dedication to keep on teaching till the student is able to get what is required. Here I remember my own experience of learning under one very great stalwart. He has got a very, very vast repertoire of compositions. So I thought, let me go and get some training from him. So when I went there, he was of course willing to teach me, and I started learning. But in the first class itself, I found that as a performer, he is a very, very great person, but he does not have the patience to teach. So after teaching the one particular Sangati once, the next time he doesn't want to repeat it again. But I was not able to grasp it within one time. So that way we see that that kind of patience is very, very important for the teacher. Otherwise, it's very difficult to teach, though you may be a great performer. The second contrast, I would say, is my revered guru, Srimati Suguna Vardacharya, who's an incarnation of patience, where in fact she was teaching at the university. I was also her student there. So a very, very mediocre student who is not able to pick up in the first instance, she'll keep on and on repeating that same Sangati over and over again till that person could get it right. So it requires enormous amount of patience and dedication if you want to be a great guru. Now, concert performers and musicians who have been both concert performers as well as great gurus. There is a class of such musicians who come to my mind also. Like for example, just a few, there may be many more. I'm just sharing for you to understand what I'm trying to say here. Great musicians like Sri GNB, ML Vasanta Kumari, Shamangudi Srinivasa Iyer, Lalgudi Jayaraman, T.N. Krishnan, D.K. Jayaraman, They were all absolutely exemplary performers, but at the same time, they were able to create a great line of disciples to carry on that tradition for posterity. In this context, I could just make a mention of Mandolin Srinivas and Kadri Gopalnath, who were absolutely brilliant performers, I would say. But maybe because of their busy schedule or whatever the reason, they were not able to create a great line of disciples to follow their legacy. They were like an embodiment. If today we talk about mandolin, we think only of Srinivas, or if you want to think about saxophone, it's only Kadriji that we are able to think. So that way, they created a great niche for themselves, a great following for themselves, but they did not create a line of disciples for themselves. And if you look at the teachers, once again, we see that every teacher for that matter has got that, that intense desire, I would say, to perform at least a few times on stage. We cannot say that all teachers are just wanting to be teachers. It is just that because of the lack of opportunity or the matter of survival, a question of regular income. So there are many monetary aspects. Sometimes the family circumstances are such that they cannot travel for performances. Especially in my own experience, I've seen so many women who have aspired to become great performers, but then performance is a different cup of tea, where you have to be away from home for a lot of time, especially when you're going on world tour, concert tours and all. You have to be away from home for 3-4 months, and that is all not workable for many women given their own family situation. And also for men, we see that sometimes the performances are not a regular source of income, because you never know which day, which part of your life will be full of sunshine, or when you will not be able to get your opportunities. That line of performance, I would say, is quite uncertain unless you're able to have your own kind of, strategies. And today we see that all the more the performers are not just about those who have a good repertoire and stage presence and other things. They should also have a very strong public relation today in terms of being able to connect with the audience in different ways. So it's not just about performance. They have to be able to do many more things apart from performance in order to be successful in their field. And this requires a lot of time, energy, and also sometimes it involves money, which many may not be able to afford. So thus we see that there may be many, many teachers in music, but there are only a few exemplary teachers. And that way there are also many performers, but only few make it to the top as star performers. CM 365, all about Carnatic music.